there or be square. Jacoby said that.
All right, now, there's a gentleman by the name of Luft, Dr. Guy Luft. And he's a whistleblower that spoke about Joe Biden allegedly receiving $5 million. Hunter Biden receiving more money. And different allegations. Allegedly, these are allegations. Now, a lot of people have not heard about this case. Right? A lot of people have not. But here you have Dr. Guy Luft on the screen. He is a former Israeli professor. Now, I'm looking at the news here in the New York Post. And I'm going to let you hear. I have a video. I'm going to let you hear Dr. Professor Guy Luft speak. There he is. He's an Israel professor. And he laid out a brief statement about 15 minutes about the allegation of bribery against the United States president and the family in an extraordinary video film. I mean, what he's saying is about 14 minutes. What he's saying, if these things are true, is absolutely shocking. So in a 14-minute recording obtained by exclusive by the Post, the fugitive from the Israel office claimed that he was arrested in Cyprus to stop him from testifying in the House of Oversight Committee that Biden family received payment from individuals with alleged ties to Chinese military intelligence, and that they and the FBI mole who shared classified information with the benefactors from the Chinese-controlled energy company CEFC. The self-proclaimed fall guy said that he provided incriminating evidence to 6 FBI agents and the Department of Justice in a secret meeting in Brussels in March of 2019. March of 2019. But he alleged that it was covered up. I, who volunteered to inform the United States government about the potential security breach and about the compromising information about the man vying to be the next president of the United States, I'm now being hunted by the very same people I informed and may have to live on the run for the rest of my life. I'm not a Republican. I'm not a Democrat. I have no public motivation or agenda. I did it out of deep concern that if the Bidens were to come to power, the country would be facing the same traumatic Russia collusion scandal, only this time with China. Sadly, because of the DOJ cover-up, this is exactly what happened, Guy Luft said. I warned the government about potential risks and the integrity of the 2020 election. Ask yourself, who is the real criminal in this story? The House Oversight Chairman, Republican James Comer, who was preparing to interview Luft before Luft disappeared, says the Israeli remain a potential witness in the Biden family probe despite his fugitive status. It remains to be seen whether Luft is the man who will bring down the Bidens, but he is not going to go quietly into the sunset. He is determined to tell the American public his version of the truth, calling himself patient zero of the Biden family investigation. Luft 57 say he is innocent of charges of conspiracy of selling Chinese weapons to Kenya, Libya, and the UAE, of violating any foreign agency registration act, and of making false statement. He said he was forced to skip bail in Cyprus in April while awaiting extradition because he did not believe he would receive a fair trial in the New York courts. Now he is challenging the government to release the minutes of the Brussels meeting and make it public and evidence against him? Why did the DOJ choose to unseal the indictment on November 1st, 2022, the very same week of the midterm election, he asks? Could this maybe anything to do with the fear that one Republican gained control over the Congress and began to investigate the DOJ cover-up would be fully displayed? Luft said that he told the DOJ that the FBI in Brussels that Joe Biden, soon after the vice president's term ended, had attended a meeting in the Four Seasons Hotel in Washington, D.C. with his son Hunter and officials of the CEFC. Luft account that the former vice president at the meeting was corroborated 21 months later when the FBI interviewed another attendee, Biden family associate Robert Walker, according to the recent testimony before Congress. Luft disclosed that during the Brussels interview that CEFC was paying $100,000 a month to Hunter and $65,000 to his uncle Jim Biden in exchange for the FBI connection and use of Biden's name to promote Chinese Belt and Road Initiative around the world, and that the money was being funneled through Walker. The Oversight Committee has written a Walker demanding that he submit to question about the role in distributing more than $1 million from the Chinese to at least 3 of President Biden's relatives. The DOJ sent a delegation of 6 people to meet Luft in Brussels. He allegates that 4 FBI agents and 2 prosecutors from the South Division of New York, Daniel Rechelate and Catherine Gosh, among the FBI contingents was Special Agent Joshua Wilson from the Baltimore field office, who would go on to sign subpoena later that year to seize Hunter's abandoned laptop from the Delaware repair shop. Why did the government dispatch to Europe so many people, asked Luft. They knew very well I'm a credible witness, and I have inside knowledge about the group and individual that enrich the Biden family. Over the intensive 2-day meeting, I share more information about the Biden financial transaction in CEFC, including special dollar figure, as also provided the name of Rob Walker, who later became known as Hunter Biden's bagman. He also told the DOJ that the FBI in Brussels and Hunter had the FBI mole name that had one eye, who had tipped off his CEFC associate, Dr. Patrick Ho, and Chairman Yi Jing that they were under investigation. Luft is well connected in intelligence circle in Washington, D.C., where he ran a think tank, Institute of Analysis of Global Security, which formed CIA Director James Woolsey and former National State Advisor Robert McFarlane as advisory. He learned in 2017 that Hunter and Jim Biden were being paid by CEFC because Luft was in partnership at the same time with a non-profit think tank associated with Chinese company. When Ho was arrested in 2017 in New York on bribery charges, the first person he tried to call was Hunter Biden, whom he had paid $1 million on a legal retainer. But at his trial, Ho was blocked by prosecutor from mentioning the Biden's name. According to Luft, Ho paid Hunter Biden $1 million for God knows what, but was not allowed to mention the word Biden before the jury, said Luft. Prosecutor Daniel Rechenthal told the judge that the time that mentioned the name Biden would add a political dimension to the case, and the judge agreed, which means it was brought before a New York court. I would not be allowed to utter a word about Brussels or Biden, he said. Luft denied the charge that they have slapped on him. I was asked by a bona fide arm dealer, an Israel friend, to inquire with the company to know if they know and had anything to do with the pieces of item. This is the conspiracy where it ends. No follow-up, no money, no break-in, no brokerage, nothing, no activity. I was just asked to inquire about a company if I knew anything about the prices of the item. The DOJ says that in cause of payment of $6,000 a month, former CIA Director James Woolsey, in order to put his name on an article, I had ghostwriters from the Chinese daily newspaper. Woolsey had been an adversary to my think tank since 2002, said Gulf, and I had nothing to do with any kind of weapon sales. So you hear what go on here, people? It seems like, say, this general here, this man here, and I'm going to play the video. So if you're following me, a lot of people do not like it when there's a long report because them no want to hear what go on, them no want to learn. Because them want to remain ignorant. So it seems like the Bidens have been accusing Trump of all kind of Russian collusion. It appears that them depend some Chinese collusion. Now, anytime I report anything about China and Biden, it appears that the internet chop it off. I'll me throw it up on TikTok. Them silence it because it seems like the government is working with the company them. To silence the people, they want to keep you dumb. They want to keep you ignorant. Them no want you know. Here is Guy Luft. Okay, I'm going to play it. I'm going to take a break. And then I'm going to forward. I want enough to listen to this man. And listen if it sounds like this man is lying, people. You are going to?
Good day. My name is Dr. Gal Luft. For the past 20 years, I have been the co-director of the Institute for the Analysis of Global Security, a Washington-based think tank focused on energy security. For the past 15 years, I've been a resident of Israel. And for 4 years, I was senior advisor to the China energy company CEFC, at the same time of its dealings with the Biden family. Under normal circumstances, I would be testifying before Congress about my experience with CEFC. Sadly, due to circumstances I shall describe here in this video, I am forced to tell you this story via video. My ordeal goes back to a fatal decision I made in March of 2019 to share with the US government my knowledge about the Biden family's relations with CEFC. As I said, it was in March of 2019 in a two-day session at the US Embassy in Brussels. I insisted that the meeting take place in March because at the time there were rumors that Joe Biden was planning to run for president. I saw it as my civic duty to alert the government beforehand and give it enough time to probe the issue. I want to be clear. I'm not a Republican. I'm not a Democrat. I have no political motive or agenda. I did it out of deep concern that if the Bidens were to come to power, the country would be facing the same traumatic Russia collusion scandal, only this time with China. Sadly, because of the DOJ's cover-up, this is exactly what happened. The DOJ sent to Brussels a delegation of 6 people, 2 prosecutors from the Southern District of New York, by the names of Daniel Reichenthal and Catherine Ghosh, and 4 FBI agents. One of them was Special Agent Joshua Wilson from the Baltimore Field Office, which also happens to cover the state of Delaware. Now you want to ask yourself, why did the government dispatch to Europe so many people? Why 6? Why not 2? The answer is that they knew very well that I'm a credible witness, and that I have insider knowledge about the group and the individuals that enriched the Biden family. Over an intensive two-day meeting, I shared my information about the Biden family's financial transactions with CEFC, including specific dollar figures. I also provided the name of Rob Walker, who later became known as Hunter Biden's bagman. Yet, as we now know today from the whistleblower testimony, Gary Shapley, it took the DOJ a whole 21 months to probe the issue and to actually talk to Walker. But perhaps the most alarming information I revealed was of a mole within the DOJ who shared classified information with Hunter Biden and his Chinese partners. I told the DOJ that Hunter was closely associated with a very senior retired FBI official who had distinct physical characteristic. He had one eye. One of the FBI agents at the time even told me, that would be very easy for us to find. There aren't that many one-eyed people in the Bureau. The information I provided the FBI in March of 2019 was fully corroborated 9 months later when the famous laptop belonging to Hunter Biden, which contained all the emails and receipts, was handed to the FBI. And guess who seized the laptop from the computer repair shop? It was Special Agent Joshua Wilson, who was with me in Brussels earlier. In other words, the FBI knew from me about the Biden CFC deals before they got hold of the laptop, way before. They had enough time to investigate the issue, but they didn't. After Brussels, I never heard back from the DOJ, but instead of showing appreciation for my whistleblowing, I became public enemy number one. Over the past 4 years that followed, me, my family, my friends, my associates, we were all harassed, intimidated, and finally, I was prosecuted. Despite all that, on the eve of the 2020 elections, I sent my lawyer to Washington to meet with then acting Deputy Attorney General, Mr. Richard Donoghue, to ensure he was informed about the information I had given his department in Brussels 19 months earlier, and also to warn him that there may still be a mole within the DOJ. Mr. Donoghue confirmed to my lawyer that he was aware of my claims, but now we learn from the IRS whistleblower that it was Rich Donoghue himself who suspended the investigation a few weeks earlier on September 4th, 2020, on the grounds that it was, quote, too close to the elections. Finally, in February this year, I was arrested in Cyprus on an extradition request from the Southern District of New York, the very same office that met with me in Brussels. The 7-count indictment said I violated the Arms Export Control Act, and if I convicted, I would face up to 100 years in prison. While I was detained in Cyprus, I was portrayed in the international media as an arms dealer, even though I never traded a bullet in my entire life. In fact, nowhere in my indictment the DOJ claimed or presented evidence that I bought, sold, shipped, or financed any weapons. I was also charged with acting as an unregistered agent of CEFC, which is a FARA violation. The DOJ says that I caused a payment of $6,000 a month to former CIA Director James Woolsey in order to put his name on an article I had ghostwritten for the China Daily newspaper. Nowhere in the indictment, the DOJ mentioned the well-known fact that Mr. Woolsey had been an advisor to my think tank since 2002. And that there was nothing in the article that represented Chinese interest, to the contrary. The notion that I Gal Luft spoon-fed a CIA director with policy proposals on China, treating him like a useful idiot, is not only an insult to the intelligence community, it is an insult to the intelligence of every American. The US government claims that I acted on behalf of CEFC and therefore I'm a foreign agent. But let me tell you a little secret. The same CEFC that the US government claims was associated with the Chinese intelligence and, quote, an international criminal organization, was a 501c3 charitable organization registered in the state of Virginia and approved by the IRS. The same organization was also a major donor to the Clinton Foundation and Columbia University. Needless to say that none of their executives were charged for any wrongdoing. If CEFC was indeed a foreign entity tied so closely to the PRC, why was it allowed to operate freely as a public charity? Why did the government expose taxpayers to the risk of funding an entity it knew at the time was so compromised? Why did they not warn anybody? Isn't the role of government to protect its people? I'm also being charged for making a false statement in Brussels. But why was I in Brussels to begin with? Was I there to eat Belgian waffles? The DOJ charged me for making a statement in a voluntary meeting that would have never come to bear if not for my good citizenship. So let me propose an idea. Why won't the DOJ make my indictment public? Do it. Make my day. Put it on your website so that every American can see the nature of the allegations against me, the quality of the evidence, and the length the government is willing to go to weaponize the justice system to punish whistleblowers like me. I have another idea. Why won't the FBI submit to Congress the minutes from the Brussels meeting? Let everybody see what happened in Brussels. Why not? Are you trying to protect anything? Are you trying to protect anybody? I also hope that the DOJ can explain why they targeted me in Cyprus and not in my home country of Israel, where I reside most of the time. After all, the US shares a bilateral extradition treaty with Israel. So if any of my crimes are real and serious, and this is not just political prosecution, why did the US need to sneak up on me during a short visit to Cyprus? Do they not trust the Israeli judicial system to judge this issue on its merits? What's going on here? Also, why did the DOJ wait 6 whole years, well beyond the statute of limitation, to indict me? And why did the DOJ choose to unseal the indictment on November 1st, 2022? The very same week of the midterm elections? Could this have anything to do with the fact or the fear that once Republicans gain control over Congress and begin to investigate, their cover-up would be in full display? And perhaps the biggest question of all, why am I being indicted for FARA, for ghostwriting an innocuous article for which I received no payment, let alone from a foreign government, when the mother of all FARA cases, the Biden systemic influence peddling on behalf of foreign governments for which they raked millions, goes unpunished? This is, in a nutshell, why I decided to act the way I did. Because I do not have faith that I would receive a fair trial in a New York court. Let me tell you why. CEFC Secretary General Dr. Patrick Ho, who paid Hunter Biden $1 million for God knows what, was not allowed to mention the word Biden before the jury when he was tried in New York in 2018. The very same prosecutor who is now after me, Daniel Reichenthal, told the judge at the time that mentioning the name Biden would, quote, add a political dimension to the case. And the judge agreed. Which means that if I'm ever brought before a US court, I would not be allowed to utter the word Brussels or Biden. And the real context of my arrest, me being patient zero of the Biden family investigation, would be hidden from the jury. Let it sink in. I, who volunteered to inform the US government about potential security breach and about compromising information about a man vying to be the next president, am now being hunted by the very same people whom I informed and may have to live on the run for the rest of my life. I warned the government about potential risk to the integrity of the 2020 elections. If convicted by a US court, would never be able to vote again in the US elections. Just think about it and ask yourself, who is the real criminal in this story? Thank you for listening.
Mike, when you think, my family and friends, you believe this your man your name God Luft? Because it sounds like he's a well-connected person. Then, he sounds connected, and like me, I tell you, say what I realize nowadays, people, the people them like look like me, them melanated people that look like me, them keep on defending this government. I don't know what's going on. They keep on defending this so-called democracy, but it look like a scam, them scamming me. Them scamming me and you. I don't know what's going on, what to believe, what is true. So my subscribers are, counseling me to say allegedly. So all these things that you hear Guy Luft is saying, I must say it. I'm just reporting the news from the Rastaman perspective. So if you want to hear the truth, subscribe to Deeproots. I believe, say, both sides of them are two set of crooks. Them a rip off the paper them, you are gonna take. By the time you find out, you get shocked. Now, I have at least two more interesting stories for you to hear. Now, right now, it's about 7 o'clock, so big paper reach home. Thank you for tuning in to the Rastaman channel. I'm reporting here Dr. Gal Luft. He is an Israeli that used to work with the United States, and he's saying that he informed on Joe Biden from 2012 down in a March before them get the laptop from Hunter Biden. Him call the government and tell the government, say, yo, it does not look good. Biden seems to be shaky. He seems to be corrupt. And instead of them listen to Guy Luft, you know what them do? Them try to lock him up. Unbelievable. Ladies and gentlemen, leave your comment. I have two juicy stories. Yeah. And share up the content for me if you know anyone that would like to hear the Rastaman. Yeah. But me I tell you, say them government here, them a lie. All of them a lie. A pure shystiness them a go on with. It seems like the government them sell out the people them to the corporation them. And the people them are some little sheeple. And the government I walk out the people them and I tax them. And I get the corporation them for play the master. And them are the master. So it seems like it's a plan. I man is gonna be talking about this one and want big up all me empress them before me start. Yeah, my families and my friends. Now, this particular story right here